Yo, what's up, guys? Wanted to talk about a recent failure of mine. I think it's important to be transparent, to just talk about failures because there are lessons in failures, and I just want to share a recent one of mine regarding SBF on the Sol chain. So I bought this coin around, I would say, as it was starting to rally up at the beginning of March, somewhere around here. And obviously it didn't go much higher. But the thesis with this coin was that on the 28th, so around, let's see, here, around this area, where Sam Bankman-Fried's sentencing would be, where we know now that he got 25 years, the thesis was that this coin would rally and get a lot of attention and a lot of exposure, and as such, as a result, rally up and go parabolic around that time. That was the thesis, but obviously nothing happened because of it. Nothing happened. The thesis didn't play out. I'm going to see if I can find a better, example or a better way of showing it on a lower time frame. So here you can see around the 28th, here's the 28th, nothing happened, it just went down. And as I said, the thesis was that this one would do fairly well. I mean, considering that the sentencing was on the 28th, and the anticipation was that with his sentencing there would be a lot of talks about it, because this man basically crashed the entire crypto market in 2022. He was a big reason as to why a lot of people kind of gave up on crypto forever. And with his sentencing, obviously that was a big deal. People were tuning in for that. And the idea and the thesis was that this specific token on the Sol chain, which is the main SBF, the original SBF coin on or token on the Sol chain, the thesis was that this token would do fairly well during his sentencing, that it would get a large exposure and therefore rally up. But what happened instead is other coins such as this one, so SBF coins that came afterwards, this one, Sam Bankman-Fried, what a weird name, this one came after. It even launched right before the sentencing on the 27th of March. And then it just rallied up and it died out pretty quickly. Same day it died out on the sentencing day, right? And this coin here, it took all the attention from the original SBF coin. This one, as well as, I think it's, let's see, jail. So this one as well did the same thing. It took all of the attention from the main coin. You can see what it did. It had a big rally up, then it just died. It released on sentencing day as well. So many people, including myself, thought that this one, which is the main one, which got launched even back in November, so late last year it got launched. Many people thought that this one would be the main, would have the main performance during sentencing. But this one actually went down. It only went down with the sentencing. What got the most exposure and actually rallied up were the other SBF coins, the ones that actually launched on sentencing day. But those were just pump and dumps. So, I mean, you can argue that this one was that as well. It was a huge pump, and then it just dumped, and it never really did anything during sentencing. The only difference with this one and the other SBF coins is that this one actually has some utility. If you look at their website, they're actually developing something called Alameda Labs. So this is basically a tool you can use to build Telegram bots, such as like raiding bots to boost engagement on Twitter and such and such. Then they have some other different bots as well that I'm not very familiar with. But what I'm trying to say is that they're doing more than just a meme. And this one hasn't crashed as hard as the other ones have. The other ones have a sub 100K market cap, whereas this one is almost at 300K, but it's dying. It's been going down from 500, 400, 300. Now it's below 300 over the last couple of weeks. So it's been doing very poorly because, you know, it's over. Like, it was a bad play. I invested $600 in this project. It got up to like 1.1, 1.2K. Never sold because that was before the sentencing, and the thesis was that it was going to go even higher. So I was like, you know what, let's fucking hold. I think this one is going to gain a lot of exposure. But what happened instead, the other SBF tokens took the majority of the attention from this one. And what I'm trying to say is, even if you have a solid and bulletproof thesis that you think is going to do very well, and it makes a lot of sense, and to be fair, this thesis did make a lot of sense, but what I didn't anticipate, as well as other people, is that other tokens would get launched around this time that would steal attention from the main SBF token, because people don't know the difference and people don't care. People decided to buy the ones that just got launched, that were just rallying, and did not pay attention to the main one that has been out ever since late November. So people were paying attention to the newer ones, and those were the ones that caught most of the attention, and then they quickly died out. So people neglected this one. They didn't even know it existed because the other ones surpassed it greatly, and then they just died out. So even if you have a solid thesis, even if you have a solid thought process regarding a token, it may not go as you plan. It may very well just go to shit. You don't know that. You think it's going to do well, and you may have a good thesis behind it, but you know, things don't always go as planned. And I'm glad I didn't invest too much into this. I just decided to go in with like $600. So I've lost like 500. It's not a big deal. It's not a lot of money, but you know, money's money, you know. But you can't think that just because your thesis makes sense to you, and it makes sense objectively as well, is that it's going to just do amazingly well. Shit like this can happen. You know, there's going to be other tokens. If it's a major news event, there's going to be other tokens that are going to launch a similar token to maybe the original one, the first one. And they may outperform the original one and steal all the attention. And then what's going to happen is the one that was the original investment, the original coin, is not going to do as well, and it's going to do what this one did. And I haven't even sold. It's at the very, very bottom. Like it's so low at this point. Like the market cap is so low, liquidity is low. But at this point, I've already lost all the money. I really don't care. I have nothing to lose by staying in the position. Literally nothing to lose. By selling, I mean, what am I going to do with the $100 that I have left in this position? Nothing. So I may as well hold it. Maybe get some exposure further into the future as we get deeper into the bull run, and maybe we have some updates on Sam Bankman-Fried. Maybe something happens. Maybe he gets a shorter sentencing. Anything can happen. You know, maybe something new gets announced. Whatever it may be, and maybe it catches some attention. And as you can see here, if we go down to the 4-hour chart, something happened. Something happened here. There was a huge volume spike. Obviously, volume has been extremely low ever since the sentencing. This is where the selling volume was very high and the buying volume was decent. It was going up a little bit, but then obviously the coin died, and ever since then, the volume has been extremely, extremely low. But here, all of a sudden, we had a large volume spike from nowhere. It didn't close at a certain price, at a higher price. It was still very, very low, but we had a lot of volume, and then it went back down, and then it, you know, continued to bottom in and go even lower. But what I'm trying to say is that this can happen in the future as well, where, you know, there's a sudden volume spike and you have an opportunity to sell before it goes lower again. And at this point, that's what I'm waiting for. There's no reason to cut this loss, in my opinion, because I've already lost all the money. I've already lost pretty much all my position. I haven't even checked the position, but at this point, I think it's below $100. So I have no use of that money. For me, it's better to just keep it in this position. But yeah, guys, again, just because you have a thesis that you think is going to work, that you're very certain is going to do well, you never know. The crypto markets are extremely unpredictable. The markets as a whole are extremely unpredictable. Anything can happen. the main SBF coin performed the worst out of all of them because the other ones timed the sentencing better. They launched at the right time, they got all the attention, and this one didn't, and it ended up crashing. So, lesson to be learned there. I just wanted to share this this little failure, but at this point I'm just holding. Maybe we'll have a sudden volume spike as we had there in the future, and you never know what's going to happen with this whole situation further into the future. If there are new like additional news regarding SBF in the future, deeper into the bull run as well, and may get more exposure and have a sudden volume rally. But as well, like they're also building a project at the side. It's not just a meme. It's not just a meme page, and it's not just a meme token. It's not only backed up by hype. It is actually, they actually have something that they're building, which has a utility for other, you know, other tokens that are trying to build their communities on Twitter using Telegram. So, I mean, yeah, at this point, I just have nothing to lose by staying in position. But yeah, anything can happen in the markets, guys. This one obviously didn't do very well, which was a bummer. Like me and a lot of other people thought it would do well, but it is what it is. The game's the game. You can't hate it. You just got to get better, and you got to accept that losses will come. You may not be right all the time or most of the time. You don't even have to be right most of the time. You just have to be right with one thing that goes 10 to 100x, or maybe even 1000x, you know? You just have to be right a few times, and that's gonna weigh out all the losses. So this time I was wrong. It wasn't a big investment, but it is what it is. So yeah, just wanted to share that failure with you guys. Don't get too attached to a project and your thesis. If it doesn't play out, it is what it is. Just move on with your life. The thesis made sense, but obviously it didn't work out. But yeah, that's that, and that's all I wanted to talk about today. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.